Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
Hi, I'm Monica Weitzel, the host of Community Hotline. For over 20 years now, Community Hotline has been introducing you to nonprofits, schools, and government agencies helping to improve our world. And this week is no exception. You hear a lot of talk lately about equity, but have you heard of transportation equity? Tonight, the Rosewood Initiative and Oregon Walks share TV time to talk about this very real subject. Then we'll talk with a young man from Portland who is already making his mark in the world of dance, art, and entrepreneurship. At the age of 11, Hobbs Waters will talk about his involvement in the International Association of Blacks in Dance and what his very full summer will bring. Finally, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. In recognition of that, we've invited Cascadia Behavioral Health to be our guests on the show to discuss this topical issue that touches all of our lives in one way or another. Tonight's show covers a wide range of topics. Please stick around for some thought-provoking conversation on Community Hotline coming up next. Hi, welcome to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to start out tonight talking with two organizations that are working together on the subject of transportation equity. We're going to be talking with the Rosewood Initiative, and here to from the Director of Transportation Equity from the Rosewood Initiative is Kim Marks. Nice to have you back here.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. And from Oregon Walks, we have Izzy Armenta. Nice to have you join us too.
Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So tell me a little bit first, gentlemen, if you could, about your respective organizations. Izzy, tell me a little bit about Oregon Walks, if you will.
Yeah, so Oregon Walks is the state pedestrian advocacy organization. We work to ensure that walking is safe, accessible, and convenient for everybody. So there's kind of two realms of people who walk, people who choose to walk for exercise and health reasons, and then those who need to walk because walking is their only choice. They don't have access to a car. Transportation is their only means of getting around. So we work to ensure not only is it exciting for folks that choose to walk, but making sure those who have no other choice can actually do it safely and conveniently. And unfortunately, in East Portland and East County, folks seem to be at higher risk for traffic crashes. So we have a lot of work out here. So.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're doing it. So, okay, and Kim, tell me a little bit, if you would, about the Rosewood Initiative.
The Rosewood Initiative is a combination of a community center where community people can come together and do various activities and things, but we also work on improving the area along the border area between Portland and Gresham. Okay. And so we do a lot of advocacy work on various issues to bring more investments to that part that's been forgotten.
So the Rosewood Initiative itself is located on about 148th and Stark?
162nd and Stark.
Yeah, 162nd and Stark. So, and yeah, you have all sorts of stuff going on there all the time. I mean, I know at first there was like classes and things, you know, and Zumba or whatever, but it's gone way beyond that. And yeah, I'm always reading your newsletters about all the different things going on. So how do you two work together then? I mean, how does Oregon Walks and the Rosewood Initiative, what is your correlation with each other?
We had worked on different issues in the past, and then when the Meyer Memorial Trust grant was coming available, we decided that we could join partnerships or become a partnership and you know, cover more areas and you know, kind of
collaborating with another
right.
group, you can get a lot more done usually.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the issue so you got the grant, I take it.
We did.
And then the issue that you're working on is transportation equity. Is that what you're doing, the two of you, or
yes,
the two organizations?
Yep.
Okay, good. So how does that look to you? Izzy, what do you do? What do you do in your job, and how does it work with Rosewood?
Yeah, so as a transportation justice advocate with Oregon Walks, what I do, there's a lot of overlap with working with the Rosewood Initiative, so it's working with community members and providing them the tools and skills needed to advocate for improved access to transit and walkability and just infrastructure in general. So providing the tools, the skills, and opportunities to actually provide their voice at a higher level. So either providing, trainings to testify, which we recently did at the Rosewood Initiative, or providing them opportunities how to write letters of testimony, letters of support, and just making sure they have opportunities to actually plug in where they have the chance, because it's one thing to rally around the community, but if you're not at the decision-making table to provide insight, it's kind of hard to actually have your voice heard. So we're making sure we provide them those opportunities, identifying them, and then having them have opportunities to actually plug in. So.
Okay, so for an example, if there's a bad accident where somebody is hurt or killed at an intersection that is maybe notorious for that, people do rally around, and something like that happens, people come together. But if they don't have a focus or somebody to help them, actually strategically take that energy and put it into something constructive, then oftentimes nothing happens. Am I right? I mean, you can feel for the family, you can support them, but if you want to make a change, you need to have some direction. I mean, is that the kind of thing that you're able to help provide?
Yeah. So a lot of policymakers will tend to give up time to meet with organizations just because they're familiar with the name and what they do, and it's harder for individuals to actually get that time. So working with community members to make sure that they're included in that process, if they're not able to communicate with a city council member or whoever, that we're able to help them get time with them, and then identify ways to actually address the issue in a strategic way that actually gets addressed, and it's not just
it's not just chatter.
Basically,
yeah.
It's sort of a combination of a grassroots where the community is involved, and then grass tops where people like Izzy and I, can also be catalysts in moving policy issues or specific projects forward. So it's sort of, both layers.
Kind of merging them there.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you have done as far as policy making or policy changing that affects this subject?
One of the things that we recently did was, after someone was killed on 148th and Stark, is we went to Commissioner Saltzman's office and requested a emergency speed reduction ordinance, and we were successful on that. And now PBOT, Portland Bureau of Transportation, is moving forward with ODOT to make that a permanent speed reduction.
Is that the 20 mile an hour?
It's the 30 mile
30 mile an hour, okay.
Yeah.
But there's a 20 mile an hour too, isn't there, in
it's residential
neighborhood
streets
residential streets? Yeah.
City of Portland,
Yeah, okay. You brought a couple of pictures, and I think you brought one of the 148th of that intersection. Maybe we could take a look at that and just
Sure.
get an idea of what we're talking about. So So there was okay, I know exactly where this is. So there was a bad accident here, and somebody died. What happened? Was she crossing in the middle of the street? What was going on there?
So the person actually was crossing in the crosswalk and had the signal, but it was late at night. And don't remember the exact details, but I think the person, either the driver, it was a hit and run, and they still haven't identified the driver, was making a right turn and hit her. Again, she was in the crosswalk, she had the signal in her favor, and she was still hit and killed.
So she was doing what she was supposed to do, but and it is hard at night sometimes to see people, but you have to make a special effort when you're driving. So the fact that it was a hit and run also makes you think that maybe there was alcohol involved or something else that they didn't want, or maybe there was some reason why they left. But that's
most likely speeding and alcohol. So
something where they would have gotten in trouble for it. Yeah. Oh, that's sad. So this is where you got the speed reduced. You got the speed reduced in that area to 30. Is that right?
Actually, all the way from 109th to the city limit. So, and that's then in the same level as from 109th to I-205. So it makes it uniform.
Okay. So people can't say.
And it's people might think it's only 5 miles an hour, but any decrease in speed will increase your chances of surviving a crash. 20 miles an hour, it's pretty good survival rate, but at like 30 miles an hour, half of the people hit in a crash will not survive.
Wow.
So
that's kind of amazing that it's that big of a difference. What's the biggest misconception you think people have about pedestrian, being a pedestrian and walking in Oregon or in this area? I mean, like the rules or laws, or I remember that at one time there was a big thing about every corner is a crosswalk, right? And that's
any marked or unmarked intersection is a crosswalk, and then drivers do need to stop for pedestrians. So.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. Am I right about that?
Very much so.
Yeah. So if you're driving and you're coming to an intersection and there's somebody waiting to cross, whether it's a marked crosswalk or not, you are supposed to stop for them and let them go. Yeah.
Especially with an influx of a lot of people moving to the state, a lot of them aren't familiar with that law, since it's not something that many other states have. And if they don't renew their driver's license and take a test and get informed on that, it might be years before they actually learn about that. So, it's a challenge.
Oh, that's not a good thing. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about transportation equity. What does that term mean?
Well, transportation equity we look at transportation as a social justice issue. Transportation is one of the most important elements to any person's life. You have to get from home to work or to school or, to meet your basic needs.
Right.
In places where there's high percentage of low-income people of color, immigrants, essentially traditionally marginalized people, they have been more and more pushed to the edges where infrastructure for safe and reliable transportation is lacking. And so you don't have sidewalks, you don't have crosswalks, you don't have good bus service. These are things that a lot of people, they're relying on them because they can't drive for whatever reasons. Most
they either
often
can't or they can't afford to.
Exactly.
Or, whatever the reason. Yeah. So I know in the East County area the bus issue is a big deal with the schools, because I don't think there's for the David Douglas and Centennial. I don't know that they get the lower bus rates like the students do in Portland public schools. Do you know about that?
It's actually a real bone of contention because the city of Portland had been pitching in for Portland public schools. Then they just recently had increased that to cover David Douglas and Reynolds, but they just voted not to continue that
I heard
for
that.
all of the districts. So now there's youth riders are left hanging because they won't have that fare which is really important for getting them to places, but also getting them in the habit of relying on transit as opposed to driving.
Right, right.
So-
And some of the kids, I mean, some of them aren't drivers anyway, you know. I mean,
Right.
they don't have a car, they don't have access to a car, or they are just not old enough to drive, and not having that, you know, having to pay the full fare, that can really be a barrier, I imagine, to a lot of families. So are you doing advocacy work on that kind of thing, or is that something another organization is working on?
So we more supporting one of our partner agencies, Opal Environmental.
Okay, yeah.
That's doing a lot of work on Youth Pass.
Right.
You know, making sure that East Portland youth is included in that funding. Again, having access to transit, especially for youth, is a lifeline. It's not just going to and from school. It's, you know, parents relying on you to pick up your siblings, going to
Right.
after-school jobs, going to these internships, you know, developing these skills. So it's not just a school bus getting to and from school. It's, you know, these life
kinda
skills that
everything.
everybody's trying to develop. So.
Right, right. And we want to encourage people to use
And
public
we're
transportation.
supporting that through providing support through our partner, and that's mostly Opal Environmental that's taking a lot of that on.
Right. I remember I had a couple of kids from
Yeah.
that were from there that were great. That were talking about that. So before we run out of time here, I want to make sure we cover this. The Rosewood Walkways. That's an event that's coming up. Can you tell me about that? And I think we brought a couple pictures about that too.
Yeah, so this is our third annual Oregon Walkways.
Okay,
It is July 14th, which is a Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. There is a parade kicking off at 12 p.m., going along the entire route. It's a short route, it's about half a mile.
Is this one of the? Is
That's
this a parade
from last year's Lent's event. 60 people just having fun. It's a great chance to reclaim the street, even just for a day, and connect with community members and just have fun. So, and the year before that was actually, this one is in Cully. So we're kind of rotating around through the city, especially in parts of the city that don't have these open streets events, like Sunday Parkways, which tend
Right.
to happen closer in. So making sure we're spreading out those needs.
So you did it at Cully, and then what was the next one you did?
Lentz.
Lentz.
And then
Okay,
this
so
year's
then
in
this one will
Rosewood.
be in the.
The Rosewood area,
And
162nd, all the
start.
way down to Main to Park Lane Park.
So if people want to be involved in that, where at 11 o'clock, where should they be? Or we're at noon for the parade. Should they be at the Rosewood Initiative
Yes.
there on 162nd Stark? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other part that why we're doing this is to draw attention to the lack of infrastructure in this part of Portland and East County. So people will see like how crazy the roads are, but also where there's gaps in the neighborhoods where, you know, that people don't experience in inner Portland.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we are already out of time, and I wish we could stay longer because there's a lot more I'd like to know about this. But I appreciate the work that you're doing on this issue and all the safety and advocacy and all that. It's really important work. So thank you, Kim and Izzy, for being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for watching this first segment of Community Hotline. We'll be right back with more in just a moment.
Community Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
so important for me to have the right to be able to speak what I want to speak and talk about what I want to talk about.
If you start shutting this person up and shutting that person up and shutting this person up, that's not America.
Hi, I'm Joy from the Portland Kitchen. Community Hotline has been devoted to supporting the work of local nonprofits for over 20 years. With 40+ shows a year, featuring more than 100 nonprofit guests, MetroEast is the go-to place to find out about the great work of nonprofits like ours. Tune in every Wednesday at 7 to see the show.
MetroEast plays a vital role in strengthening community life by helping nonprofit organizations share their story. One major opportunity we offer is Community Hotline, our weekly talk show that highlights the stories of our community's nonprofit organizations.
We've had a lot of people call Ride Connection because they've seen us on Community Hotline.
We can reach people that I've never thought about reaching out to.
We can get that word out to a broad audience quickly.
The list of causes and nonprofits that we support is really incredible.
Do you know a nonprofit you'd like to see on Community Hotline? We'd love to have them on the show. Give us a call. Hi, welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. And now I'm delighted to introduce you to a young man that I met, within the last few months, who is doing some really incredible things, and I wanted to bring him to our viewers. Hobbs Waters, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Miss Monica.
Yes, it's really nice. Your mother went to school with my kids, and that's how we ended up meeting. But you have been involved in so many things in the community at the age of 11, right?
Correct.
That was pretty impressive. So I know that one of the main things you're doing is dance. Yes. You're a ballet dancer. You are also an artist. You had a show this past weekend that I had the pleasure of attending, which I found really interesting because not only was I able to see your art that you had for sale, but also walking around with you and talking about the pieces that you've done and the social justice implications of your artwork, which is pretty impressive, for your age. I was well, even if you were, an adult, I would have been impressed. So it was good. It was good stuff. And then the fact that you not only designed those shirts, but you also screen print. And
yes, hand screen print them.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, and so you're an artist, so you're an entrepreneur, and you have a website.
Yep.
You have, you send out regular newsletters. Yeah. What don't you do? Do you cook?
No.
Okay, there's something you don't do. Good. I didn't want you to be, perfect. So, I noticed that I was looking up some stuff about you, and I went on this site for the International Association of Blacks in Dance. And from what I understand, that's an organization that supports artists, but it's not just artists, it's administrators and directors and choreographers and everybody that's involved in dance who has an African-American ancestry that, I don't know, I guess it's not just American, it's African ancestry to try to support and promote that. And you were on the front page of the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first got involved with the Association of Black Dancers when I took an audition class auditioning for Summer Intensives, which is basically a dance class that is focused on one subject, and it's mainly focused on that subject for about like a couple of weeks or so, depending on the time, like from 4 days to about 7 weeks.
So it just depends on the intensive, it's like a course, right? So when you say it focuses on one subject, such as what? What would be a subject they would focus on?
Like technique or strengthening and conditioning.
Okay, so it's just not your overall basic class. It's okay. So it could be core strength, or it could be your leaps or something. I don't know what it would be. So the summer intensives, they have this all over the country. Is that right?
They have this actually all over the world.
All over the world. Okay. And you recently auditioned, didn't you, for several summer intensives? How does that work? What do you have to do?
Well, usually you will walk in and you'll be labeled as a number, and then there'll either be like 1 to 4 judges who will be judging you, and then you'll have a teacher, and you'll start off with a little bit of bar and warm-ups, and then
so they're watching how you follow the teacher and what
you go to center floor, and then they'll look at you without the bar.
Okay. And then so you're able to kind of perform a little bit for them, and they decide whether or not you're quality material or whatever that you should be as part of their summer intensive.
Yeah, or if you benefit them or their program.
Okay. So you did that recently, correct?
Yeah. I auditioned at IABD's scholarship class, and I got into 10 different summer intensives.
Wow.
And
you can't possibly do 10.
No.
No.
And that's how I made the connection with them. And then later, my mother and I found out that they will do tax-deductible donations through their business. And so they're helping entrepreneurships. And I emailed them, and I've had tax-deductible donations ever since.
Great. So you are you're trying to raise money to attend these summer intensives, right?
No.
Is that for something else, or does that go to? Explain that to me.
So I received full scholarships to both summer intensives that I am going to attend. What I'm trying to raise money for is lodging, dance wear, and then travel expenses.
Oh, okay. Which I'm sure amounts to quite a bit. And you decided, obviously you can't do all 10, so how many summer intensives did you decide to participate in?
I decided to do 2. I'm going to participate with Nutmeg Ballet Conservatory.
Nutmeg?
Torrington, okay. Connecticut.
Connecticut, that's a long ways.
And Nashville Ballet, they're in Tennessee.
Wow. Nashville and Connecticut, yeah. You're going to be doing some traveling this summer. Have you done much traveling in the past? Have you, for your dance or for anything?
Yeah. This past year, I attended 2 different dance competitions, Youth American Grand Prix, and that was in Seattle.
Okay.
And then I attended New York City Dance Alliance, and that was in Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good. And didn't you say something about you did something in New Orleans recently?
I lived in New Orleans for about 3 years, and
okay.
I was a part of New Orleans Ballet Association.
Wow, wow. So, how long have you been dancing?
Been dancing for 3.5 years now.
Oh. And how'd you get into it?
Well, I was constantly bullied at school. My bad. So I had tried sports, and so I had hated every sport. I tried sports at school, sports on my own time.
It just wasn't working for you.
It wasn't working, and I had seemed to getting worse. So I had tried soccer and football and baseball and basketball. I didn't like them, and my mom wanted me to be involved with some physical activity.
Right.
So the ballet studio was located around the corner, and she asked me if I wanted to get involved. I said that should be a great opportunity, and well, I started a week later, and
the rest is history. Huh?
Yeah.
So where do you study now? What school do you attend for your ballet?
I study with Classical Ballet Academy. They're in Selwood.
Okay. Yeah. And so you've been there how long?
2 years now.
Good, good. So this is something you want to pursue, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You brought some pictures, and I think we should take a look at those. And some of them, they're all different pictures, but I know you've kind of danced all over the city, it seems like. Let's see. Okay, now what are we looking at here?
Well, this one is the renewal of my video on my website. So this one, I got more kids, not just me, to get involved. And they're also supposed to help my branding name as City Troll. So these are multiple City Trolls.
And this is City Troll, so that's your website, isn't it, City Troll?
Yeah, so I'm just...
Oh, yes, I love this. Where is this? This is under a bridge somewhere, isn't it? Is that
in
Southeast, like Morrison Bridge or something, or Southeast Portland?
This is in Southeast Portland. It's right over NXT, and then the old Portland store, Fixtures store. This is near the train tracks and over by OMSI.
And I might mention that these T-shirts here are shirts that you have designed.
Yeah, I hand screen printed that shirt as well. And
where is that? Where is that taken?
That is taken over like in the same area.
Yeah. Kind of industrial area.
Just the industrial area of Portland. Yeah.
I like those. Those are great. Ah, now and that's another. I love that shirt. So you're screen printing a shirt right there.
Yes. That is the process. I was doing it through the Make House.
Oh, okay. And Black Artists Matter, is that one of yours?
Yeah, that's my design as well.
I like that. I like that. That's great. You do a lot. How long does it take to screen print a shirt from? I guess the design is probably that's the longest part of it, probably, huh?
Yeah. The second half of the screen printing process is mostly just tedious and the same process over and over again.
Yeah.
But it usually should take a whole day if you're doing like 100 run-through of shirts.
Oh, wow. So tell me, I know what you're doing this summer. You're going to be doing your dance intensives. What else do you have going on this summer?
Well, I'm going to attend a wedding. That's not important.
That's fun, though. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and after I come back from Nashville, I think we're not going to be doing anything.
Maybe get a break for a little while?
Yeah, I think I'm going to attend some of the summer intensives at my ballet studio for the last part of the summer.
That makes sense. And what about your art? Will you continue to draw, and are you exploring other kinds of art as well? Because these are mostly pen and ink, right?
Yeah. I'm actually working on an 5 abstract paintings exhibit, and I'm going to have that in a gallery downtown. And that should be September 6th.
Oh, good.
So I'm exploring other mediums, so art.
We'll have your website on the screen, so if people want to check out what you're doing, they can do that. What did you bring with you here today?
Well, this week I'll be participating in some shows.
So maybe we can get a look at that. I'm not sure how well we can see it, but the Classical Ballet Academy presents Sleeping Beauty, Under the Sea. Are these different shows? Sleeping Beauty, Visions, Leap, and Under the Sea. So which one are you in?
I'm in Sleeping Beauty and Leap.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Visions.
Okay. Oh, Visions and Sleeping Beauty? Okay. So people can probably go to the Classical Ballet Academy's website and find out more information about that. Great. And what else you got there?
I have one of my designs.
Oh, okay. So you do mostly animals, don't you?
Yes, that was what I was mostly working on.
Yeah, I like this. That's a good one. Cool. And then this is some more. These are nice. This is a very popular giraffe because it's comical. It's funny. People, it's amusing. People like this giraffe. I know that. That's cute.
And this is my part of my stationery collection.
The seahorse. They're so different. They're so odd, aren't they? They're cool.
And then last but not least, I have my whale design, my newest design.
So this is a whale. Oh, this is cool. See, this is really nice. I like these. You've been very busy. You've been a very busy man. So we're just about out of time, but what motivates you to do all this? What drives you? Do you know?
I really don't have an answer to that question.
Yeah. Do you just do things that you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
And you like to be creative, it seems like. Yeah. Your mom's pretty supportive in that, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing. Well, I wish you the best of luck at your summer intensives and just in your artwork and everything you're doing. And I forgot to mention that I first met you when you organized an Earth Day neighborhood cleanup, and so my family participated in that, and it was great. So keep up the good work. You're really a role model for other kids. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for watching this segment of Community Hotline, and you can go check out Hobbs's website and get more information. And don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Community Hotline.
Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.
I'm Gresham City Councilor Mario Palmero. Tune in to Community Hotline Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and you'll find out about local organizations making a positive difference in your world.
Every week on Community Hotline, we highlight the great work of local nonprofits in our area. And now you can also see us on our live Facebook feed, 7 p.m. every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So tune in and find out what's going on in your community.
Coming here to shoot my documentary was more than I ever would have dreamed of doing.
This is a community media station.
It was phenomenal.
Ready, camera one.
What is it about this place that makes so many different people come together?
Ready, camera two.
Very professional, experienced people.
You can use these industry standard pieces of equipment.
Ready, camera three. Take three.
You don't have to be rich to do this.
Open people's eyes to something they've never even thought of before.
Cool stuff happens. It becomes this community.
that's going to really change who's telling the stories and who's controlling the messaging.
Hi, and welcome back to Community Hotline. I'm Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's something that has been on everybody's minds as mental health issues are in the news frequently. So because of that, I wanted to invite somebody to come on the show to talk about mental health issues and how organizations are dealing with that. So I've invited Cascadia Behavioral Health Care, and so to represent the organization, I have Dr. Jeffrey Eisen. You are the Chief Medical Officer. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So as a Chief Medical Officer for Cascadia, you probably do a whole bunch of things. I mean, that sounds like an overarching title that covers a lot of things. But tell our viewers, if you could, just a little bit about what Cascadia does, because I know it's more than just mental health care. It covers a lot of things.
Absolutely. So Cascadia is the largest provider of mental health and substance use treatment services in the community surrounding the Portland area. Okay. We serve approximately 18,000 individuals per year and have a dedicated team of 900 to 1,000 individuals who really work on our mission of providing outstanding integrated care for all of the clients that we serve.
Wow, that's a big chore right there. That's a big project. And I know that I've been to, I don't know if it was a couple of years ago when they had the groundbreaking from the Garlington Center.
Yes.
And that's like, it's up, isn't it? I mean, it's already.
It's opening later this summer. So
Yeah.
We're really excited about that.
I drove by there not very long ago and went, huh, wow, that was quick.
So the Garlington Center is a brand new integrated health center that we are opening. There was an idea many years ago for Cascadia to really develop a whole healthcare approach for individuals. So that includes the behavioral health and substance use work that we've done for many years, but it also includes an emphasis on primary care, as well as expanded substance use treatment, and also social support services such as housing supports, employment supports as well.
Wow.
So it's an exciting initiative.
It is, and it is whole health because it encompasses so much. And because if somebody doesn't have a place to live or they don't have, a steady home life, then trying to deal with all the other issues that are going on is pretty darn tough, I would imagine.
It is very tough.
Yeah.
There is a lot of information that suggests that individuals who have instability in housing or have other concerns socially have worse health outcomes. Both physical health and mental health.
Mental health. Yeah, and it's one of those chicken and egg things I imagine too sometimes. It's like, are they homeless because of mental health issues? Did those come out later because of the instability of their life? And you know what I mean? I imagine you get into all those conversations a lot.
It's true. It's true. It works in both directions.
Yeah. Does Cascadia do much in the area of advocacy and that kind of thing? Or is it mostly direct patient treatment? What is your focus
So
there?
we do a lot of direct patient treatment, which is an important part of the work we do, but we believe strongly that advocacy is very important, and we do quite a bit of that both locally and nationally. There were a group of individuals in Washington, D.C. recently who lobbied on Capitol Hill for some legislation to extend the Excellence in Mental Health Act, which will allow for additional funding for some of the great work we do.
Good. So keep your fingers crossed on that. Huh?
I know. We're working hard on that.
It's a tough issue, and but it's something that it's in the news all the time now. The mental health issues and how we need to provide more services for people that are suffering from mental health issues. How many people do you have an idea of how many people actually suffer from mental health issues?
So what we know is that mental health concerns are very common. 1 in 6 Americans in any given year have a mental health concern. And so because of that, we know that that not only affects that individual, but it also affects friends, families, coworkers, and others with whom they spend time with. And so the important thing to know with regard to that is that it means that mental health concerns are very common, and
Right.
it affects many, many different types of people.
So if you don't have a mental health concern now, you might have one later, and probably, and for sure somebody you know does. Undoubtedly somebody in your family somewhere. I mean, it's just statistically, yeah. So I don't get why there's such a stigma about it if it's so common, but there is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is true that mental health concerns are not really spoken about very much in communities.
Right.
And the good news about a Mental Health Awareness Month, as well as more news about mental illness in the media, is that it means that more people are talking about it, which means that we can talk about it more freely. We can talk about it the same way we might talk about diabetes or high blood pressure or any other medical problem that someone might have.
Right, and I think that's really important. So what kind, you said you have services for substance abuse and that kind of thing, and what are some of the programs that you actually have to help people that are dealing with mental health issues?
So we have a wide variety of programs that span the regional area.
Okay.
Some of those include mental health centers that include both mental health services as well as substance use treatment services.
Okay.
We have some residential programs specifically for individuals who have serious mental illness and may need a certain level of care that requires more services.
So are those ongoing, or are those like a set amount of time people come in there? Is it either one, depending on what they need?
So some of those are shorter term and
Yeah.
some are actually much longer term,
Okay.
depending on what their needs are and the type of program that it is. We also have some strong crisis services as well. We have an urgent walk-in clinic in Multnomah County where 7 days a week individuals can walk in if they have a mental health concern. We take all comers.
Can you tell me where that's located?
So it's located on Division at about 45th.
Okay. I wasn't
in
aware.
Multnomah County.
Yeah, that's great. Because I imagine there's no one size fits all, cure for or treatment for mental health issues, because there's such a variety that you really have to individualize, I imagine, and customize treatments for that person.
It is very true. We always try to meet people where they are at. It can be very difficult to talk about one's mental health concerns. It can be difficult to step forward. And so we like to be there when folks have a need, and that we can provide an opportunity to help however we can.
So how can people that have a family member or a good friend or whatever that is suffering, how can we help support those people? What can we do, just to be there and to support or to recognize that issues are going on?
Yes. So there's a couple different ways, and I'll talk about two different ways.
Okay.
One has to do with if you feel that someone is in crisis or you feel that they are going to hurt themselves or someone else. In a case like that, there is a telephone number that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is a mental health crisis line in Multnomah County, Clackamas, and Washington counties. You simply Google mental health crisis and the county you're in, and you can find that number. And you can get access in the case of what we might consider more of a mental health emergency.
Okay.
The other option that I suggest is that folks get trained in what's known as mental health first aid. So in the same way that we might go to CPR training or first aid training,
Which we just all went through here at our office. Yeah.
Right? There is what's known as mental health first aid. And what that is it's a program that works in 3 parts. It's a one-day training where individuals from the community can learn about the prevalence of mental health concerns, identifying signs and symptoms of mental health problems, and then learning about what some of the local resources are as well.
Well, that sounds like a smart thing for a lot of people to do. So who puts those on? Who puts on those first aid trainings?
So during Mental Health Awareness Month, we conducted 4 of those trainings during May.
Okay.
We also plan to provide future trainings as well. So I do urge people to go to our website and have a look at the services that we offer, as well as what opportunities there might be to sign up for mental health first aid.
I like that. I think that's something that probably a lot of businesses should, have their people go through, or schools, obviously, and yeah, that's an important thing. I didn't know there was any such thing as mental health first aid.
It is. It's really an exciting and interesting initiative, and we've really tried to promote that as a way for individuals who want to help those that they care about to learn more about mental health needs and how to provide support and resources.
I am going to look that up, and I'm going to tell a bunch of people about it, and you're going to be overwhelmed with, with calls from people that want to take that class. Great. So that sounds great. So what else should we know about the services you provide? Or actually, let me go back. Let me ask you this. Cascadia has been around for a while.
Yes,
right?
It has.
Do you know how it's changed? I know you haven't been there all this time, but do you know what kinds of changes there have been from when it first started till now as far as dealing with mental health issues? Because I imagine it's changed a lot.
It has changed. One of the ways it's significantly changed is that we've approached care now from an integrated or whole health perspective. So what we know is that individuals who have serious mental illness often die 20 to 30 years sooner than their counterparts without mental illness. And that's often because of physical health problems, chronic disease that has not been adequately treated for any number of reasons. And so we really believe that by providing great integrated care, we can improve both mental health outcomes, physical health outcomes, and really extend individuals' lives so they can live successfully, in the community.
Well, like you were mentioning earlier, if somebody's suffering, it's going to affect more than just them. It's going to affect the people around them, and so in doing that, you're helping not just that person, you're helping the community, right? Because you're maybe preventing something serious from happening, but you're also helping the families of those people and the friends of those people. Helping them to live better lives too.
Right, exactly, exactly.
So so there's that's been a big change. And how do you fight the stigma of mental health? I mean, is there anything in particular people should be aware of and do? If you hear somebody, I don't know, saying something about somebody and calling them, calling them names that are derogatory, which still happens all the time. What do you suggest that people do? How do you deal with that?
Well, what I suggest is to first understand that mental health concerns are very common, as I had mentioned. And so because of that, it's really no different than any other medical problem or any other concern that an individual might have. And so the idea of seeing it as something that is common and having the opportunity to talk openly and freely about it is really the first step towards individuals who need help realizing that it's okay to come forward.
Yeah, it's okay to talk about it.
It's okay to talk about it.
And I think really it should begin at home with your kids,
Absolutely.
Be open with your family, be open with your kids about it, and let them understand that this is something, everybody has something they have to deal with sometime in their life, whether it's a physical, illness or a mental health illness, it's all, everybody has something at some time, and maybe your next door neighbor is dealing with an issue now, but
Right, and having that understanding that it's very common can lead to greater compassion and empathy for individuals who face mental health or substance use, addiction concerns.
Right, and those often go hand in hand, and there again, it's that chicken and egg thing. Does one cause the other, or is it a result of that? And I think that can go both ways too, is that right?
That is true, and it is very common for an individual to have a mental health problem or a mental illness as well as use substances as well. In many cases, using substances can be a coping strategy for the anxiety or depression that someone might face, for example. And so getting treatment for the mental health concern is really a great step towards also helping to manage the addiction.
Makes perfect sense to me. We're just about out of time, Dr. Eisen. What else should we know about Cascadia or about mental health issues?
Well, what I would urge is for people who are watching to go to our website at www.cascadiabhc.org and take a look at our site, the different events that we hold, the different services that we offer, and to realize that there is a lot of help out there in many different ways. And there are many opportunities to both get the help that you might need or to provide help to others.
Good. Well, that's positive, and that's something that people can do. So that's a good step in the right direction. If people feel sometimes helpless when things are, you hear about things in the news that affect, somebody that has a mental health issue, that's something positive people can do to step in the right direction. So thank you very much for being on here tonight and for the work that you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching Community Hotline tonight. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you will check out Cascadia's website as well as the others from the groups we've talked to tonight. And have a good week. We'll see you here next time. I'm Monica Weitzel. Good night.
Hotline is made possible with generous support by Gresham Ford, the dealer with a heart. The Contribute to the Community program provides the opportunity for the Gresham Ford team to make a positive impact, serving their customers and helping people across the community. The Outlook, serving the residents of East Multnomah County for more than 100 years. The region's #1 source for information, The Outlook provides readers with intensely local coverage of the issues and people that impact our lives and community. The Mountain Hood Cable Regulatory Commission, advocating on behalf of the public interest on communications policy issues at the local, state, and federal levels. And by Stamp Connection. MetroEast values the support of our partners in the community, and we'd like to give a very special thanks to the sponsors who help make our programming possible.